One of my favorite stories was in kindergarten. It was half-day kindergarten. I had Nan Worthing, and I decided after the morning kindergarten I went to daycare, and I decided I was not going to go to daycare because I didn't want to. So I decided I would walk home because I lived right on East 8th Street. So I walked home, and shock of all shocks, the house was locked, every door, back door, front door, and I went and sat on my front steps and cried. And the crossing guard at that time was Ann Davison, and she saw me crying on the steps and came and got me and called my mom and took me to daycare where I needed to be for the rest of the afternoon.
The memory I have was this: we used to sleigh ride down the hills, and we weren't supposed to be doing it at recess. Well, teachers weren't outside at recess all the time, so we would do it anyway. And we got so wet, the snow was so wet that we came back in, and our fourth grade teacher, or I believe it was Mrs. Blower, made three of us take off our pants and sit in the teacher's lounge, which is right off of the main hallway, and sit there with our pants draped over the heaters until they dried before we could go back to class. And the other kids would come by the hallway and peer in.
Never would happen today.
I was so embarrassed. You know, you imagine a fourth grader having to take his pants off.
I remember on the first day of May each year, they placed the maypole in the corner of the yard next to Maplewood, and they put white streamers on it, and the girls who were designated wore white dresses, and we enjoyed going around the maypole.
One of the best days of gym class was trampoline day. So gym used to be where the cafeteria is now. That was our gymnasium. And they would put a full-size trampoline up on the stage area of the cafeteria. So it took up the entire place. There was no safety protection, no net. I mean, if you fell off of that, you would fall off the stage and onto the ground. It was the most unsafe, springs that were rusted. It was a ridiculous setup, you know, but it was the best day. Maybe it's part of the danger of that made it fun. We also spent a lot of time, girls and boys, playing our own little version of tag down in the tire down there. That's on the big playground now. That was a big, okay, never mind, I shouldn't talk about that. What we did in the tire.
I was just thinking.
What's another fond memory about East? Can you tell us another story?
Oh, playing around out at the recess. They had a merry-go-round.
And didn't we have a metal merry-go-round that if you didn't, you'd lose fingers if that thing clanged against the post, and a lot of people got fingers damaged and hurt. There wasn't much concern for safety.
See, there's a little part of my finger that was chopped off. Sonny, Nana, and I were delinquent in that we were called in from recess, and we stayed out for just one more ride around this merry-go-way. We pushed it up and down, and my finger got caught between the bar and the rod. Cut off the tip of my finger, had a huge bandage, and I used that as an excuse not to write very well as I was learning printing in first grade.
We had recess night in the afternoon and morning.
You broke your rocker?
Do you know what hand walkers are? Well, it's just a metal ladder. It goes up this way, that way and down the other
I
side.
call them monkey bars these days.
Oh, okay. We called them hand walkers. And I was on the top of them. And I fell off and landed with this arm under me. And I went home. My mother put, I don't know, cold or hot or something, compresses, but it wasn't. She thought it was sprained, but finally took me to the doctor, and he discovered I'd broken this big bone in this arm.
Yes, I also had my 3 broken bones here at East Elementary. My finger, which I already said, I broke my collarbone playing kickball, but I did get the person out. And I also chipped my tooth because I was not going to be caught in tag.
And we had a basketball court, and it was all gravel, so you try to bounce the ball and it hit the gravel.
You know, I imagine almost everyone that went to school here has gravel somewhere in their body or cuts.
sure.
I've got a piece in my knee, but I don't know where it came from.
It's
Could
all,
have been
the
the
whole
playground.
playground was gravel. I'll remember.
Yeah, we were much tougher, I guess, than kids now. I don't know. Or I don't remember getting injured, though.
I don't remember very many injuries either. I'm sure there were, like you said, gravel in the...
Yeah, elbows or
Buried in your-
knees.
What did boys and girls wear?
In the early years, in the 1950s and probably into the 60s, little girls wore dresses to school.
Oh, whatever. Dresses, we didn't have, girls didn't wear pants back in those days, but it would have been a relief to have them.
And when it was cold weather, they wore snow pants, snow suits that maybe even had a bib up here, went on over their regular clothes.
My mother used to make my dresses on a sewing machine. She had a sewing machine. She was really good at it.
And a 15-minute recess, some girls would just barely get it on when it was the 15 minutes were up. Of course, they may have planned it that way. They may not have wanted to go out in the cold weather, but it took so long to put their clothes, put their clothes on and take them off again.
In the summertime, we didn't have shoes to wear. But in the wintertime, we all got a brand new pair. I remember sitting in the shoe store, Coe's shoe store. Shoe store and getting fitted for shoes. Usually they were leather and high top. And I was ordered to take care of them. That's all I'd get.
But then I also remember when teachers began wearing pantsuits, not pants and a top, but it had to match. And I remember thinking, oh boy, will we get by with it?
So the students would come to school, then at lunchtime they'd go home.
Yes.
And go home and eat lunch, and then come back in the afternoon?
Right. Yeah.
You know, our lunchtime must have been an hour because we walked home, ate lunch,
Right, we had
walked
to have
back.
time to have gotten home and gotten back. So I imagine it was an hour.
Because I remember one little girl would begin looking out, because at that time, East sat up on the hill like Robert's picture shows, and she would begin looking out the window to see if her mother was out there waiting for her.
A lot of them ate up at,
Castler's?
well, where Stuart has his office, was Castler's Dairy, and they had a little restaurant in there, and I know a lot of kids went up there and ate their lunches. I was kind of jealous, and they seemed to be having a lot of fun at lunch, and I was going home and having to eat, turn around and come back.
Your moms had like soup and sandwiches ready for you, so you'd have your group of friends that would walk home and then come pick you up again. But by the time we were in 5th and 6th grade, Kastner's Dairy had opened up. So we would go out this back way. Our whole group of friends would go up to Kastner's to eat. And for, I think 20 cents, you could get a grilled ham salad. 5 cents, you could get a ginger ale.
Really?
Yes. So that was fun. We loved that. The whole group went.
And then when did they start having lunch at school?
Well, whenever we got the cafeteria.
Hi, I'm Tanya Conrath. I'm here with my mom, Shelly Conrath, and my youngest son, Jack Conrath Sweeney, who's a 5th grader here. And we are 3 of the 4 of the 4th generation East Elementarians.
Absolutely.
Loved going to East Elementary. A lot of my friends are still around, and it was really neat to come back to find out I got to student teach at East Elementary. And then later, when I was applying for jobs, I mostly looked around here and wanted to be at East Elementary, and here I am. It's the best place to have kids, my own children. Molly, come on over. And we can see how happy Molly is. She too
Good job, Molly.
So Molly's in 5th grade now. My older son just went to middle school.